Hey, so you know how I've been like looking for a job?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I applied to one. I applied to one job.
Oh, good. Progress.
Yeah. Didn't get it. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. That's, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. I'm a special kind of guy, and you need special kind of tolerances to want to hire me. Like desperation. But anyway, the point is, Matthew, sometimes things come out of nowhere. And I got this notice. It turns out I'm on the 40-man for the San Francisco Giants, listed as an outfielder.
Wait, what?
Which is crazy because, like, I never played in the outfield, Matthew, all the way up until I was 10 years old when I left.
Okay,
It was all because of that Brian Pacino grand slam, that one time I pitched, and I wasn't even a pitcher. And whatever, like one grand slam and my baseball career is over. The point is, and then I played a lot of second base, and then they just put me at catcher because I was the only person that was, dumb enough to get behind home plate and catch balls from these giant man children who were throwing, 40 miles an hour. And it was, so once I was behind the plate, that was it. I could never get a sniff of the outfield. And I really think that's my position, so I really feel like I got a chance. So listen to this. A lot of these guys, they're out of options, right? Like, they have to be on the 26-man in order to stay with the Giants. So, I don't know that I'll make I'm not going to make the 26-man most likely, right? You know how Buster feels about his reps. You got to get his reps in, blah, blah, blah. So I'm probably going to have to be in Sacramento for 5 years. But my point is that, like, I feel like I might have found my job. I could be a professional baseball player.
How? What?
Well, I just figure it's because, like, everybody and their nephew is on the 40-man as an outfielder. There are 10 of us, man. There's 10 of us.
So you just snuck in, huh?
Yeah. Elliot Ramos, Jung Hoo Lee, Drew Gilbert, Justin Dean. I don't really. Joey Weimer. We call him Wiener.
They paid cash for that guy.
We call him Wiener.
We're going to call him
Luis
Wiener,
Matos. Grant McCrae, Gerard Encarnacion, the Meckler, king of the Meckleheads, and Marco Luciano. Luciano, Meckler, Encarnacion, Matos, and Weimer are all out of options.
So you're saying there's a chance that you could just slide into that, like, 5th or 6th outfielder spot?
I'm saying I do not have to apply to a second job is what I'm saying.
All right, we'll have to think about this. Bob, hit it.
Welcome to Giant Cocktails, where the baseball is mid, but the cocktails are elite. Here are your hosts, Ben and Matthew Henry.
Welcome to another episode of Giant Cocktails, episode 339. Ben Hunter Pence, not Hunter Mentz, had a 339 on-base percentage in 2013 when he hit 27 home runs with a weighted runs created plus of 133 in 162 games played, on his way to a Hall of Very Good career.
A 99% vote, I'll have you know. The Hall of Very Good. And also, he's going to be a great hitting coach.
Or is it the Hall of Pretty Good? It's probably the Hall of Pretty Good, I think.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good sounds more demeaning than very good.
I was trying to give him more credit than he actually got.
Yeah,
but I love Hunter.
Like that,
I love Hunter.
Demeaning.
Anytime you can slide Hunter into the episode, it's a good day.
Hunter Pence, you mean?
Yes, not Hunter Mentz.
I mean, no offense to Mentz, but it's all about the pence.
He didn't hit 339, on base.
Right.
So.
But he can teach guys how to do that.
One would hope.
One would demand.
Correct. One would demand. I stand corrected.
Enough with the banter. Let's talk cocktails.
Sure, Bob. Let's talk cocktails.
What are you drinking, Matthew?
Bob, I'm drinking a cocktail that I'm calling a Winter Daiquiri. Because it's winter and I like daiquiris. Tell you all about it at the end of the episode.
What are you drinking, Ben?
Thank you for asking, Bob. That's very kind of you. I'm going to have to modify the name of my cocktail. Well, I am drinking, got it, a Whinter Sour. It's spelled Whinter.
Okay.
And it's a sour. And it definitely uses a different spirit than a daiquiri would. Because otherwise we would have the same cocktail. And that would be embarrassing.
Yeah, which has never happened in the history.
Yeah, hold on. I got to go do something real quick.
Damn it.
Where's my whiskey? I'm back. All right, where were we?
So you changed the spirit. I'm sure you're just still using lime juice, though.
Yes, because somebody brought me 1,000 limes when I already had 1,000 limes. So now I have 2,000 limes. No, I have 1,998 limes.
Anyway, today is Sunday, November 30th, as we record this podcast. It's the off season. Giants didn't play. Nobody's playing. There's no standings to report. But we're in first place.
Wow. Are we? Are we in first place?
Or last, depending on whether you're a half glass is half full, glass is half empty kind of guy.
I want to know who's winning the offseason, Matthew. Are we winning the offseason?
Hey, we've signed a free agent.
That is true. We have signed a free agent, which certainly is better than a lot of other teams.
Yeah.
Is it Tucker?
No, it's, we're going to just be raving about Wilkin Ramos in, I don't know, a few years.
All right.
Maybe
Wilkin
next year.
Looking forward to
Free
it.
agent signing of the year so far. All right. Ben, though, it's been 2 weeks since we last recorded.
Yep.
We're in the off season. We're living our lives. We had hinted there might be a Thanksgiving episode, but folks, just that wasn't going to happen. I was traveling from Chicago back to the Bay Area on that day. There was a turkey to be prepped. There was just things were happening in our lives, and we couldn't get it. So sorry that you had to face your family without us on Thanksgiving, but we're back here now.
Yeah, I suggest if you have problems with your family and you don't want to get invited back to any more Thanksgivings in the future, next Thanksgiving, you just play Giant Cocktails loudly on your phone. I would suggest the Tingler episode.
Yeah, the first 15 minutes apparently.
Yeah, or the
Ben
first 15 minutes of
podcast.
the episode before last. Yes, as Roger would advise. Yes, either one of those will get you uninvited from all future Thanksgivings.
But in that last 2 weeks, Ben, there have been some comings and goings. We had to say goodbye to some people, and
I don't want to talk about it.
I know. You become attached to some players, and then they're gone in the blink of an eye.
I don't want to talk about it.
I think you should. It would help you. It would help your feelings. It would help to get them out. We all loved Andrew Kaczynski.
Hang on a second. Kisner. His name is Kisner, stupid.
Okay, we finally got it right now that he's off the team. Okay.
Man, I fell in love with him since his first hit as a San Francisco Giant.
Well, it was a nice one.
It was a very nice one. It was a home run against the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium. And it was late, but it was not close. The Giants were winning by 3 runs, and then they were winning by 4. And after that, Matthew, I was in love, and I celebrated with great glee and vigor every home run he hit after that.
Well, there was no other home runs that he hit after that. So.
Good, because I don't really celebrate anything with vigor.
Well, I mean, Andrew Kisner is gone. We were looking at his stats. Ironically, he and Patrick Bailey had the exact OPS plus.
Wow.
At a robust 73.
Wow.
Which just goes to show you how valuable Patrick Bailey is on the defensive side when Andrew Kisner and him had pretty much the same offensive numbers.
Yeah, that suggests to me that how many of our games that Patrick did not play was too many. Just given how good the defense is. With a 73 plus, OPS plus, sorry. That's quite ample. I know it's not good, folks. I know it's not good. But Bailey is so good behind the plate, I wonder how bad he could be before it actually started to be, negative. It would have to be way worse than 73.
Yeah.
It would have to be way worse than 73.
Absolutely. We used to talk about how if you were left-handed, you could, make any roster anytime as long as you threw strikes.
What are you talking about? I'm already on a roster.
Well, I'm just saying that Joey Lucchesi apparently
I know.
Just prove that theory.
You're saying that Joey Lucchesi was just released by the Giants?
That's what I'm saying. And it's a little bit of a surprise because, generally when you're trying to build a bullpen and, you need pitchers for said bullpen, you don't usually get rid of pitchers that are in said bullpen. And they did.
The only surprise here, Matthew, is that Joey Lucchesi was called up at all. That man pitched in 37 more games for the Giants than I thought he would at that point also. I thought he was just a seat warmer. He was a roster filler. And no, he pitched in 38 games and had a 107 ERA plus. I mean, and there were some stretches where he was much better than that. Easily one of the biggest surprises of the 2025 season, Joey Lucchesi.
Well, and one of the biggest surprises of the 2025-26 offseason is that they just let him go. So interesting.
I think he's still Joey Lucchesi, dude. He's still Joey Lucchesi. Let's not get excited here.
What's interesting is though they let him go instead of one of the 10 outfielders. They signed Ben Henry, but they dropped Joey Lucchesi. I don't get it.
Matthew, they have great hopes for me.
They do. As they probably have great hopes for Joey Wiemer.
That's right.
It is pronounced, according to Baseball Reference, Wiemer, not Weimer.
Okay.
I would have personally gone with Weimer if I was him, but apparently it's Wiemer. And Wiemer's done okay in his career. He's got a pretty good, plays pretty good defense, has some pop, has been pretty inconsistent in his offense, but not a bad get for cash considerations, and it means that they probably had to talk to our old friend Gabe Kapler to get this done.
They probably did. And yes, they do pronounce it Wiemer. That's why we call him the Wiener when we're out shagging fly balls with great vigor in the outfield.
You're shagging a Wiemer with great vigor?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
shagging a Wiemer with great vigor. Yes. That's what's happening.
Moving on. Giants also signed our first free agent of the offseason, Wilkin Ramos, who's a big guy. He's 6'5", and he had 322 Ks in 316 minor league innings over the span of 5 seasons, and has yet to make the majors. So I do like that they're just signing guys that throw hard and that are big and lumbering. Just keep signing more of those. I want more Wilkin Ramoses for sure.
And yet you also want more Joey Lucchesis. who throws like
I want
78.
I want them all because they should have 78 relievers in camp, and then we could whittle it down to like 7. By the time spring ends.
That's fair. But I think in order to sign Joey, they'd have to give him a lot of money. Like more money than they would have to give other guys. More money than they probably had to give to Mr. Ramos. W. Ramos, as we're going to have to call him.
Oh, man, there's going to be 2 Ramoses. That's going to be... Maybe we'll just call it Wilkin. We're on a first-name basis.
Sure.
Elliot and Wilk.
Yeah, we call him Wilkes when we're out there
Wilkie.
fly balls with great vigor. Because the pitchers come out and shag the balls with us, too, sometimes.
Yes, okay. So Ben and I had a hard time deciding what we were going to talk about today. So Ben decided to go the low road and start talking about shagging with vigor. But instead,
I just did it because it was funny.
Debatable. But we are going to talk about free agency. People are being mentioned, and we're going to talk a little about that. I think we'll also kind of fold in a little bit of the not just free agency, but the impending lockout in 2027 and how that could affect free agency this year. Because it's going to get complicated and it might not be business as usual this offseason. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, let's talk about the available pitchers because it seems like that's what everyone wants to talk about. Sometimes you'll get some random national dude that say, "Oh, the Giants should be interested in Tucker," and folks, don't get your hopes up on that one.
No, there's not going to be no Tucker. Ben Henry is taking that position.
Yes.
Like, there's no room for Tucker.
So don't get your hopes on that one. Where you should get your hopes up though is in the starting pitching. And the Giants have been linked to a couple of high-profile free agents. One, Framber Valdez, who I can't remember now, it's been a while, either last episode or the week before, one before, we were conjecturing that maybe Buster wouldn't be interested in a Framber Valdez, considering this last season he intentionally crossed up his catcher by throwing a fastball at his head. But the rumors persist. And we'll dig into that a little bit. The other guy that people are discussing as a possibility is Japanese pitcher Tatsuya Imai. And what's interesting about him is if you squint from really far, he kind of looks like Tim Lincecum. Kind of flowing hair, a short guy who throws hard.
Does he fall off the mound? Does he just like look like he's going to fall flat on his face every time he throws the ball?
Probably not. I don't know if I've ever actually seen his delivery, but I have seen him in pictures. He does have this kind of flowing long hair out of his back of his hat.
Yeah. All right.
And he's like 5'11", so there's kind of the comparisons there. Hopefully, if they sign him, he will have just as good a career as when Tim Lincecum.
Yeah. Although I think Tim would say that he would wish it was longer.
Absolutely. And speaking of length. The MLB trade rumors actually has very similar numbers for these guys. They project Framber Valdez to get a contract around 5 years, $150 million. And Imai to have a contract of 6 years, $150 million. Ben, you're going to get 6 days at $1.25.
Yeah, and I will be thankful for it, quite frankly. That's going to pay a few bills, and it's going to be at least one more day that I don't need a real job. And so, hey, one more day without a real job is one more day. So,
if you had one guy to replace you on the roster, either Framber Valdez or Tatsuya Imai, do you have an opinion on either of those guys?
Well, okay, so, I don't think okay, first of all, everybody just calm down. Just calm down, because I don't...
We're getting one of them, Ben. We're getting one of them, okay?
Okay, well, first of all, look, the history says, nuh-uh, okay? So, no, we don't get the guy that we go after, okay? Look,
we were saying this a year ago, and then Buster comes along and says, "Watch this, bitch," and starts getting people, right?
Okay,
so
all right.
I don't think you can say that we haven't done it, because Buster's out there spending ownership money left and right.
All right.
I think he wants to go for another guy.
Right,
I can feel it.
Right. Okay, last week we covered up that word with a very good Bumblebee by you. But we did agree that it wasn't strictly necessary. So are we just not going to do that this week?
I'm not doing it.
Okay. That Bumblebee was very good, though. Very aggressive. I really enjoyed it. That's why I let everybody behind the curtain on that whole process, by the way. It was just too good. It was just too good. But anyway, okay, you know what? You've convinced me. I think you're right. Like, just look, Greg Johnson's out there like, oh, we're not going to spend that much money on, we've already got all these long contracts. I don't like pitchers' long contracts, blah, 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 blah. And then, GM Manazian is out there saying it too. San Francisco Giants GM Manazian, I must specify, is out there saying the same thing. And, but here's the thing. I think the pundits might be right on this one because, I think Greg Johnson has created a monster here because the evidence suggests that the Giants do give out big, long contracts. Sure, they haven't done it to a pitcher yet, but we got Willy Adames. We got Matt Chapman, which, let's face it, that was Buster's first contract. Farhan was lame ducked the moment that contract was signed. Okay, so that was Buster's first contract. Willy Adames was his second contract. And then the trade for Rafael Devers, that's 3. Okay? 1 time is an anomaly. 2 times is suspect. 3 times is a pattern. Buster Posey likes to give out money for lots of years to get the players he wants. And I don't think there's anything that Greg Johnson can do to stop it. You have given the keys to Buster Posey, and the ride is the San Francisco Giants. Greg, your authority is suspect at this point. You have created a monster, my friend. And I think everybody agrees that Buster's willing to spend. He hasn't done it on a pitcher yet. Now, that doesn't mean I agree. If we're going to get either of these guys, because that was the original question you asked me, I want Imai, just because he's younger.
Okay, but unproven.
Sure, agreed.
So there's a gamble there. There
is a gamble there in terms of unproven, but I would much rather have young and unproven than proven than Framber Valdez. I would much rather have that because he's going to be old and injured. And then you're going to have 4 dudes with these mega long contracts, 4 old dudes, and in 3 years, they're all going to be old and you're going to not have any money left to get rid of them and spend on other dudes. You're just not going to have the money left. And so I don't know. I don't know that I want a 4th long contract for 6 years. That's basically the same time span as everybody else. And let's face it, JHL is going to take that option because he ain't going out there and getting more money, right? So now that's 5 long contracts. And you can only spend so much of your money. The money is not infinite. As much as we all want to believe that it is not infinite. And, especially for a large ownership group like the Giants, where taking money in from outside is a really long, painful process. You can't just have the owner open up his checkbook and give the team more money. It doesn't work that way when you have 37 owners or whatever it is. Because everybody has to agree to it. So no, that's not happening. So I'm sorry, you have to, we need a budget. We need a budget.
Budget smudget. Come on. I mean, first of all, we are well under the luxury tax. Okay. And I think you're right. Johnson has created a monster in Buster, but I think that monster needed to be wakened. It needed it. I mean, we're trying to we're this big market team trying to behave like a mid market to low market team, and I think Buster's hey guys, we got something that other teams don't, we got money. And so we should be spending it. And I don't, you can't, if the window is now, you've got Chapman, you've got Adames, you've got Devers. All these guys have this window of time at their peak, right? Next 2-3 years. So you don't want to like rely on some developed pitcher from AAA. You want to bring in guys that can win now because your window is now. And so don't just half spend and then hope. Go all in. Just jump in, cannonball into the darn pool and spend the money now. And, and as we talked about, contracts only get cheaper as they age. Okay, so today's dollars 5 years from now is going to be pennies. Logan Webb signed a 5-year, $90 million contract, and now that's a freaking bargain. Okay, and so, we're talking Framber Valdez, who is basically a Logan Webb clone. You look at their numbers, they are almost identical through their career, is now going to be making $60 million more a year than Logan Webb. So sign it now because it ain't going to get cheaper. So you're like, oh, don't spend the money now, but you want to spend it like 3 years from now? It's going to be like twice as much. Maybe not that much, but you know what I'm saying. So I think get into this, buy what you need now, and let's ride out this next 3 years, 4-year window.
Fine. I'll allow it.
Okay. All right. Well, good. And I think that I would choose Framber because he is the known quantity. And man. I get that you want a younger guy and you're like, oh, but that's like you're trying to hedge your bets, just get the known quantity.
Look,
go
Matthew,
in there,
I don't know. What are you saying? Like, no, look, these young guys, they come over from these foreign leagues. They're a sure thing. Like,
they're not always sure thing.
Wait. Okay, I see it. Okay, yeah.
Go look in center field.
I'm thinking about I'm thinking about a certain bench player for next year.
Oh,
yeah.
Not gonna be that bad. He's not.
I mean, I don't know, Matthew. Who's gonna play center field?
We have options there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty fast. I'll have you know. Okay.
There's Justin Dean. There's Drew Gilbert.
I blow my hamstring
Joey
out
Wiemer.
every time I sprint, but other than that, I'm pretty fast.
Even Grant McCrae could play center field. We got options in center. I'm not worried about center field. In fact, one could argue that maybe Jung Hoo Lee doesn't belong in center field. Maybe they should move him to right.
I don't think one should argue that. I think one should accept it.
Yeah, but the Giants aren't going to pull that trigger yet.
You sure? I don't know. We got a whole new coaching regime, Matthew. By the way, every single one of the dudes on our coaching staff right now is in a new position that he has never held before, except for the Tingler.
Yep. The Tingler's what's binding everything together.
The Tingler is binding everything together. Yeah, it does have a long rope attachment on it.
One of the things that we haven't really talked about as we've been talking about these is the impact of the 2027 lockout. And I should say potential lockout, but dude, it's
potential?
It's
is it potential?
Yeah, it's not. It's a sure thing. The owners are definitely going to want to put their foot in the sand and draw a line because they want to save themselves from themselves.
Yes, I think that's a perfect way to put it. Yes.
And so they're going to basically hold the players hostage until the players agree to save themselves from themselves, which means that we probably won't have much, if any, baseball in 2027. But I think that also impacts kind of what's going on now in free agency, or at least from the Giants' perspective, because the Giants have made a habit out of basically getting pitchers who need a year of a prove-it contract to reestablish their worth on the open market. And they'll sign a 1-year contract or 1 year with a player option contract to pitch in San Francisco because Oracle is kind to pitchers. And pitchers can then go back out on the open market. But how do you go back out on the open market if there is no market? So I'm curious about how that will impact the signings of some lower tiered free agent pitchers, which is why I feel like going with a longer term stud versus, kind of a middle of the road guy makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree with your point that the looming lockout does change the way that everybody thinks about how this is going to, what sort of contracts they want to sign now. Because if you do sign a 1-year deal or a 1-year deal with an opt-out, or like a team opt-out, I guess, which is not really a thing, you're going to end up being in a situation where you're going to have a full year, we presume, without playing baseball, and then you're going to have to go out onto the market then, and then at that point, the evil owners are going to be able to say, oh, well, you haven't played for a year, so we're going to have to assume that, you know, you deserve to get paid a little bit less than what we would normally pay you. So it's really, really going to suck. So I think that if you want to get those kinds of guys, you're going to offer them lower contracts, but maybe more years if you want to get those kinds of guys. So, and
I think guys are going to be more amenable to that now, given the current landscape,
right,
for sure.
Right. So I think the idea of having a prove it year is just not going to exist this year. Now, you're going to have guys who just want to play and certainly will do it for 1 year. So those guys will still be a bit available. But those guys that are in the middle that want to have a prove it year, I don't think those sorts of contracts are going to exist. But I do think, like, for those listeners that are, like, surprised or haven't thought about this, like, I think we do need to sort of back up our suggestion that there is definitely going to be a lockout. Right?
Yeah.
And look, the reason that there is definitely going to be a lockout is just exactly what Matthew said. The owners need to save themselves from themselves. And right now, we have a very distinct pattern of behavior amongst owners in Major League Baseball. And the pattern is that a significant portion of these quote-unquote small market teams are simply not spending any money at all to make their teams better. So think Pittsburgh Pirates, think Vagabonds, formerly known as the Athletics. Think a lot of the Midwest teams like the Twins and you know, I don't want to lump the Reds, but
the Pirates.
Yeah, I already said the Pirates. I think the Pirates are a great example of this. The Marlins, you know, all of these low-end teams that just simply aren't going to spend any money to make their teams better. And are just perennially doing this. Like, they have just given up. They have no desire to try. But then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have these uber brand teams that are just spending huge amounts of money, like the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox sometimes. And I think that's another sign that bad things are going to happen, because even teams like the Red Sox aren't spending. And so you've got this situation where the owners are just sort of pulling themselves apart in this spectrum. And something is very, very broken in the sport when you have a bunch of teams that just aren't trying when it comes to the free agent market. So it's broken. Unfortunately, I think the major disagreement here is amongst the owners themselves, because, like, I think the one thing that all owners say most owners would say that they want is a salary cap of some sort. But I seriously wonder, do the Dodgers want a salary cap? Like, I don't think so. I don't think the Dodgers want a salary cap, because I don't think that's what the Guggenheim Investment Corporation wants. What they want to do is create one of the biggest sports brands in the world. They're not competing with the other Major League Baseball teams. They're competing with
Manchester United.
Exactly. And Real Madrid, right? That's what they want to be seen like. And so in order to do that, they need to be a dominant team that dominates their league, that is always in the playoffs, is often playing in the World Series, and wins it every couple of years. That's what the Dodgers want, because that makes their brand more valuable, and then they can just sell it sometime in the future for a massive, massive profit. So I don't think that's what the Dodgers want. But now imagine you own the Twins or the Pirates. And I'm not even going to lump in the A's because I don't know what the heck John Fisher is doing. That guy's crazy. But that's the point. And so there's a real break here. And they need to resolve it amongst themselves. And I think the only way that you're going to get them to do that is by having a full lockout. That's why the lockout is coming. And you can also see it in the things that they're saying. They're all talking about how they lost money, even though Major League Baseball made more in revenue than it has ever made this year. Right? They're all claiming, though, we lost money. The other day, Greg Johnson said, no one is going to outspend the Dodgers. As if the Dodgers have some sort of special right to be the team that spends the most money. They're not, according to Forbes, they're not even as worth as much as the Yankees. And it makes no sense. Why are the Dodgers special? Because they're in LA? There's another team in that market. It makes no sense. Why do the Dodgers have this special right to spend all of this money and nobody else does? But that's what he said. And so he is trying to perpetuate this vision that the Dodgers are outspending everybody, and so we need to fix that. The lockout is coming. I don't think there's any way that this is going to be resolved. And it will most likely wipe out the entire season. The lockout is most certainly coming.
And on that note, I was looking at how a lockout impacts a player. And they only get paid for the games that they play. So if you, even though you have a guaranteed contract and all that, if you don't play in 2027, you don't get paid. Now, if you had a signing bonus that was prorated and all that, you'll get paid for that. But most players, didn't get, only the stars get contracts like that. So most players are going to be impacted quite a lot. What's interesting is the minor league players aren't affected. Right? Because they're not under the Major League Baseball Players Association. And so they can continue to play. The weird one is those who are not on the 26-man roster, but are on the 40-man roster. Now, they are technically major leaguers and cannot play in the minor leagues, even though they were scheduled to start in AAA or AA or wherever they were going. The only thing that they do keep during a lockout is their health benefits, because that is done through the Major League Baseball Players Association, not through the teams. So really interesting. And but even though they keep their health insurance, if they're injured, they can't work out, or they can't see team doctors, and they can't see team trainers. They've got to basically do their rehab and stuff on their own. And so it's a really interesting dynamic there will be a lot of casualties, I think, if things aren't played out. It's almost like, when we lost the season to COVID, when all the minor leagues were wiped out, and then they restructured the minors basically, after that. It's, I could see there being a lot of casualties like that where guys just never resume their career. It's going to be interesting.
No, it's definitely going to be true. I mean, we saw this in 1994. I mean, the Giants know better than a lot of teams about how bad 1994 was. I will say this, 1994 was a disaster for Major League Baseball. It's one of the reasons why the steroid era happened. At least that's the conjecture. Because the fans didn't come back. After the 94 season World Series was wiped out, the fans did not come back after the strike. The only thing that brought them back was Sosa and McGuire.
Exactly. The home run chase to 60 plus and re-energized the fans. But you can't count on something like that happening again.
Well, sure you can. I mean, they can look the other way at any time, Matthew.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure.
I mean, Major League Baseball could look. Don't underestimate the ability of very rich people to do amoral things, Matthew, or immoral things.
All right.
to pad their pocketbooks. So I would, but fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So we should not fall for that. But
I also feel like the sports landscape is much more crowded than it was in the early 90s. And you've got way more sporting opportunities as a fan, globally. Right. And so I got to feel like, this could be one of those, like, them shooting themselves in the foot and never
No, this
recovering.
could be a total disaster for them. But I think they are definitely going to do it because they just can't see it. And it's not just that there's other opportunities in the sporting world. I mean, there's video games, there's all kinds of other forms of entertainment, like live play RPGs, Matthew. Like I was really worried about Critical Role when they took on Brendan Lee Mulligan as the new DM, but man, he's been hitting it out of the water, in this whole West Marches campaign style thing. I'm digging it, So yeah, just give me more Critical Role. I don't need the San Francisco Giants.
Gosh, I was just thinking about the Valkyries or something like that. But here, in women's sports being, an option that wasn't happening in 1994.
Hey, listen,
but
man,
hey,
they're selling out
you do
Madison
you,
Square
man.
Garden. Dimension 20 sold out Madison Square Garden. Like, there's so much more out there.
All right. Well, the Valkyries sold out Chase Center. So, okay.
Multiple times. Brendan Lee Mulligan only did it once.
Still, quite an accomplishment.
Anyway, yeah, no, hats off to you, Brennan. I feel like there's a lot more to dive into here. Because we have, there's this whole question of, if the lockout does happen, and I guess this is a question we could have next year, when and if, I'll still say if, the lockout does happen. But there's a lot of questions about, what do we, want as fans to get out of this? Obviously, none of us want there to be any work stoppage at all. But I think the players and owners have made it very, very clear that they do not give a rat's ass what we think. Already.
Well, right. Right. And I think depending on what team you're a fan of, you may want different things, right? Like if you're a Dodgers fan, you're probably pretty happy with the status quo. I would argue maybe if you're a Giants fan, you should probably be happy
if
with
the vagabonds
status quo.
get their butts out of the Bay Area for once and for good and for real, yeah. Yeah. And once all that real estate stuff actually starts to return real money, yeah. Yeah, the Giants are the fifth most valuable Major League Baseball team, according to Forbes. So there's no reason that the Giants shouldn't be spending like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets and not spending like, I don't know.
Right.
The
And I
Rangers.
say status quo because the status quo is if you have the money and you want to spend it, you can. There's no salary cap. You could spend as much money as you want to build a winning team, and the Giants have the means to do that. Not every team does. And that is the crux, I think, of the whole potential lockout. The owners are going to want a salary cap. The players are going to be 100% against that. The only way that maybe they get to anywhere near kind of a salary cap is if there's also a floor. And that's where you're going to have teams like the Pirates and the A's and, the teams that you mentioned are not on board with that. And if you're fans of those teams, maybe you would want that to happen. You would want your team to spend more money to improve its competitiveness, right? So I think even fans are going to be divided on what they want depending on how it affects their team.
No, I agree. I mean, everybody says they want parity, but really? Do you really want parity?
No, I want the Giants to win every year.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
want
want
the Giants
too.
to win every other year, 3 out of 5. That was fun, man.
Exactly. That was fun. And I at least want my team to have the ability to get better in the off season and not just have it be just a roll of the dice every year. So, it's a hard question to answer. And I think, unfortunately, we're going to have a lot of opportunities to talk about it in the future.
Isn't it time for the booze, boys?
Yes, Bob. It is time for the booze.
What are you drinking, Matthew?
Well, Bob, I am drinking Winter Daiquiri. And every year I make a spiced Demerara syrup for my old fashions, basically. But I've learned that it goes in quite a few other things when you want to make it kind of, wintry or Christmas themed or holiday themed. And so the Demerara syrup is basically a rich Demerara syrup, 2 parts sugar to 1 part water. And then I throw in at the end some cinnamon sticks and cloves and allspice berries. And I let it kind of simmer there and infuse. And then I strain all those out and I get this nice syrup. So that's what the base of this is. What is in the Winter Daiquiri? Well, it's got 2 ounces of white rum, 1 ounce of lime juice, a ½ ounce of the rich Demerara spice syrup, and 1/2 ounce of Allspice Dram. Put all those into a shaker with ice, shake until well chilled, and you're going to strain it into a chilled coupe and garnish it with a cinnamon stick. So that's what I'm drinking, Bob. A Winter Daiquiri.
That's a tasty cocktail.
Yes, it's actually really good. I really enjoy it.
What are you drinking, Ben?
Well, thank you for asking, Bob. That's very kind of you. Bob, today I am drinking a cocktail called the Whinter Sour. And yes, you could absolutely go create a wonderful spiced syrup that you could add to every cocktail that you want to give it a wonderful winter feel. But the problem is, you're going to be adding all of this sugar to all of those cocktails. There's another way, my friend, and that is by spicing your spirits. Most specifically in this case, your bourbon. Maybe you don't want a super sweet old-fashioned, but you still want it to be winter spiced. Well, that's when a spiced bourbon comes into play. How do you make a spiced bourbon? Well, there are so many ways, and it's all very easy. You just basically take a bourbon that you don't feel that strongly about, and you put in the spice flavors that you want, and you let them infuse in that for at least 16 hours, but for as long as you want. Really, it's up to you. Experiment. Play around with it. I like to put in cinnamon, allspice, and cloves into my concoction. And I put that into an entire bottle of the bourbon of choice, and I just let them sit there. And then I strain them out, but you could leave them in indefinitely if you just like them to get stronger and stronger. And for this particular cocktail, after you have done that, you take 2 ounces of your spiced whiskey, and you add that to 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice, because you have 2,000 limes, because your brother shows up on Thanksgiving with 1,900 limes and says, "Here, I brought you a gift." And you're like, "I just got a bag of limes from Costco today." Well, yesterday. And he doesn't care. He's like, well, now you have more. So now you have to make everything with limes. So that's what you do. You use 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice, and then you use an ounce or 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup, whatever you like, or less, because you're one of those weirdos. And you might add some Angostura bitters or not, if you want to make it extra interesting. You put that all into a shaker with ice, you shake it until well chilled, and then you strain that into a coupe glass with no ice. And that is how you make a Whinter Sour. And that's what I'm drinking, Bob.
That's a tasty cocktail.
It was really good, dude. It was really good. Don't sleep on this one, man. It was good. And that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us. We will be back in 2 weeks on Monday the 15th. with more Giants content. If you can't wait that long to get your fix, feel free to reach out to us on the social media or by leaving us comments on Spotify or YouTube, or most importantly, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, where you can leave us a review for the entire podcast. And I got news for you folks. A lot of people have left comments on both Spotify, and we got a new review. A suspect review, but I'm going to let Matthew talk about that. First of all, I do want to thank the people who commented on Spotify. A user who goes by the name Slaytrax, but we actually know as Roger. But not that Roger. Not that Roger. The original Roger. The OG Roger. The Roger from England who knows all about Leicester. From back in the day. That Roger. Like, if you're an OG listener, you know what I'm talking about. That Roger, he commented on Spotify, and he says, I just want to clarify that I'm not Roger.m. And then he specifies, he gives proof that he is who he is, and he says that I love you both. Keep it up, Roger. And that prompted Scott, yeah, that's right, the guy whose name took over the word photograph, to say Ben is batting .500 against Rogers. And those are Hall of Fame numbers. And Scott... That's why I like you, man.
That's a great
line. He put me in the Hall of Fame. Scott just put me in the Hall of Fame. So, but Matthew, we have a new review, you said.
We did on Apple Podcasts. Buster Posey's burner account is back.
Wait a second.
I didn't know you could do.
Can you review again? You can review multiple times?
If you're Buster Posey, you can do whatever the heck you want.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You can even offer a guy a GM job, and when he turns it down, you put him on the
slide him to the outfield.
Sorry, a manager job, and then you put him in the outfield. Yeah.
So the review is titled "Golden Orchard Success. Everything is amazing. 5 stars," and it says, "Dear Mr. Henry and Ben."
Whoa! Wait, what? Wait, whoa! Listen, I'll have you know I'm a certified substitute, and lots of people have to call me Mr. Henry.
You strike me as the kind that would be like, "Oh, you could call me Ben."
Yeah, they could call me whatever they want, honestly. Yeah, no, I'm definitely that kind of substitute.
All right. Well, the review goes on to say, "Wow, what an amazing podcast. Longtime listener, second-time reviewer. This is truly a delight every time. Made the Golden Orchard cocktail for a Friendsgiving, and it was a hit. I also had to make 3 batches to satisfy the large crowd. Please make this podcast forever and daily. Also, We're going to sign to Imai. You heard it here first. Regards, Buster."
See, Matthew, we're getting Imai, not Framber.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, Buster Posey would know.
He would. Also, he can review us as many times as he wants. You're right.
Also, we can't do it daily because one of us has a job.
Matthew's
If
nice.
both of us were unemployed, then we could totally be doing this daily.
Yeah. We got to play the lottery more just to up our chances of that happening, dude.
That would be fun.
Yeah, we got to play it at least once a month or something. Anyway, Matthew, it was great talking San Francisco Giants with you. Until next time, cheers, my friend.
Cheers, Ben. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. Bed should be on the 26th man.
Thank you for listening to the Giant Cocktails Podcast. Until next time, bottoms up.
I mean, why not?
I don't know. It's Mr. Henry to you.
Mr. Henry. Wow.
Ben.
Buster called you Mr. Henry.
You know, you get a lot of respect around here. I'm the one holding this podcast together, apparently.
Apparently. I didn't know that you could do double reviews. That must invalidate his former review, though, right?
Good question.
I heard, though, that while you were reviewing the reviews, you accidentally reviewed us, and you gave us a 3 stars.
I'm on my iPad, and I was swiping, and all of a sudden it said, "Thank you for your review." And I was like, "What?" And it said 3 stars.
Oh, man. You know what, dude? Like, first of all, that's totally inappropriate. You should not be rating your own podcast.
Well, of course, I didn't do it on purpose.
What, and then you give us a 3?
Oh, but then I changed it to a 5.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair.
Because I couldn't figure out how to do 0. Like, once you'd already left a review,
yeah,
it was like you couldn't undo it.
It's in there.
But it allowed me to add stars.
Well, sure, sure. You should be able to correct it. You should be able to modify it. Absolutely. I mean, I could imagine you knocking off a point for me, like Roger did.
Yeah.
I do think, although I was thinking about the Roger review, and I was thinking that, like, maybe he didn't understand that the whole thing where that whole intro We got not a lot of new listeners, right? Because of the whole Vitello thing. We got a lot of people from Tennessee coming in, which was weird. But I was thinking maybe he was a first time listener and he didn't understand that was, we were playing around. And he just heard Ben just being mean to his older brother. And as an older brother, Roger was like, I'm got to protect my bro.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So here I am trying to defend Roger, my biggest detractor. Other Roger, not OG Roger. New Roger.
That's nice. I like OG Roger dropping in. And
yes, thank you, OG Roger. Agreed.